Guys, because I'm going to do this with lots of interaction and lots of demonstrate lots of things. I'm going to dive right in. As I said, I'm going to make this really, really practical. And let me just do a quick screen share with you. And hopefully, if I just quickly click this open, just jump in here just for a few seconds, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the actual technologies that I want to show you. Okay, what I'm going to focus on a little bit today, and it's sort of an overall thing that I'm kind of thinking of, is okay, so we're looking at some of the key technologies that are impacting on teaching and learning at the moment. So obviously we're going to bring in a little bit of the new stuff, the AI. There are lots of new tools emerging. Some of them are super interesting. And some of you, if you follow my work, some of you, then you'll know that I'm kind of an avid language learner, as well as being a language teacher for more than 30 years. And so I'm using these tools on a daily basis. And we also have small groups of experimental classes testing out some of the materials. Where does language learning really happen? Now, I won't actually ask this question. You can write the answer what you think in the chat window, because if you really think of it, basically there are three ways that you learn a language. Okay, first of all, in class with the teacher, and then secondly, homework from the teacher, and then the extra work that you might do alone. And one of the things that's really happened over the years is that the opportunities for working alone and studying on your own have been increasing exponentially. And because of AI, they probably increased more than ever. So we've always had opportunities to learn languages at home. But for example, when I started back in 1987, when I was teaching on the island of Crete, I think it was really, really difficult to get the students to do a lot of things outside of the class. They didn't really have access to English television. Satellite television was just starting in those days in Europe. The newspaper used to arrive about 5 days late on the island of Crete where I lived. There were a few native speakers around, but there wasn't the sort of globalization and travel that like there is today. And materials were very expensive, buying tapes or buying readers, etc. So really, a lot has changed because of the fact now that students can do so much work on their own. And the underlying point that I'm trying to make today, in terms of the technologies that I'm going to show you, is that it's really interesting to think about introducing technologies to students that they could end up using on their own. That really is where you're going to have a massive impact on your students' life. If you can show them technologies that can really help them to foster learning on their own and to get on and work on their own and do things, then, we're really, really going to empower our students. So I think that, the role of autonomy is becoming absolutely tantamount, absolutely vital. So I'm going to show you a series of what I believe are really interesting technologies that I believe can do this. They can really have an impact. Now, I've got a handout for today's presentation as well. So you don't need to worry too much about jotting down all of the different technologies that I'm going to show you. And I'm going to definitely be linking things together so that you really get a taste for the way that these tools could work together and a student could work on them. And I think the interesting way for me to do this is that a lot of the times I'll do examples of how I study Polish, okay, because that's the language that I'm currently studying. The first technology I want to show you is called natural readers. I personally think this is a game changer. When I showed my students this technology for the first time, especially teachers online, I have a big following on YouTube. Teachers said to me, wow, this is just unbelievable. Now, amazingly, this tool is free. There is a free version of this tool, and it's very generous. What does this tool do? Well, what it basically does, it allows you to paste in any text and then to listen to that text being read out in a really good native-like accent. So for me, working in Polish, for example, anytime I copy a story or I copy some vocabulary or I copy some sentences, and I'm going to show you lots of ideas, I can bring it into natural readers, I can paste it in, and I can listen to it being read out to me in a really good Polish accent. And I even get the choice of voices. Now, this particular one, and there are a few of these tools around, is very interesting because A, it's generous, B, you don't even need to sign in, and see, I'm very surprised at the quality of the voices. And I'm going to show you, we'll start by doing something really easy, and then we'll just take it from there. So let me just do a new share, and I'll just make sure that I'm sharing my screen. I'm just going to jump over to my website, okay, just very quickly, just to grab a little bit of text, just to demonstrate this, and then we'll do much more interesting examples. But I'm just going to grab a little bit of text on my, just to show you how it works, okay? So just grab a little bit of text from my website, okay? This is like my kind of portfolio website, which just tells a little bit about my teaching career and stuff like that. I'm going to come back to natural readers. I'll close this down because I don't want to work in Polish for this first example. I'm going to paste in that text. And then what I can do, and I just have to move this down, guys, so you can see, is I can come here, click here, the language that I want to use in this case. Look at the number of languages: Korean, Japanese, Italian, Icelandic, German. I've been using this in Spanish, for example. We've got lots of English accents that we can choose from. I'll start with an English accent. So we'll click here, since I am English, and I'm going to choose Sonia. Okay. Now I'm going to just click and listen. And I've obviously got this sharing the sound, so you should be able to hear this. I'm just going to play now this text being read out by Sonia. And if I move this to the top so you can see nice and clearly, you'll also see what it does. Let's just play a little bit of it.
Russell was previously a principal educational technologist at the University of Warwick and the University of Westminster. Before working in educational technology, Russell was the Director of Studies of International House in Seville, where he...
Now, I really love the way that the voice is superb. I can tell you that now because I'm English and I'm listening to that accent. We'll try some American accents in a minute, or we'll try some other ones. As I said, I'm using this, thank God it's in Polish. So you can imagine whenever I take an article that I'm interested in reading, because I really like to read and listen at the same time. And for me, when I'm working on my own, this is really, really powerful. I can literally take a piece of text, paste it in here, and then it will read that text out to me, as you can see, with a really clear accent. Now, the free tool does have a limit. You can't use it forever, but it's incredible how much you get for free. There are very few days when I reach my free maximum, and I'm using this to study Polish nearly every single, well, not every day, that would be an exaggeration, but certainly 3 or 4 times a week I'm using this tool, and it has become my go-to tool. It really helps me with vocabulary, with sentence, with pronunciation, etc. Okay, now let's just switch the languages just to show you. So we'll jump over and we'll just try an American English accent, and we'll try let's try Tony. Okay, let's see if Tony can, and I think if I click here, and if I otherwise it may just click on, in fact what I think I can do is I can sort of move it back to the beginning, and then hopefully it will pick up.
Russell was previously a principal educational technologist at the University of Warwick and the University of Westminster. Before working in educational technology, Russell was the Director of Studies of International House in Seville, where he ran the English, French and German language departments.
Okay, so the power of this, if you're a language student working on your own, this is incredible. I think, as I said, for me, this has been an absolute game changer. Now, I also study Spanish. Now, my Spanish is very good. I was even a Spanish teacher many years ago. And so often when I'm, for example, reading an article from El País, I will bring it into here, paste it in, just copy it, paste it in, and get it read out. Now, there are other tools around. I'm not saying this isn't the only one, but I'm really impressed with the accents. I'm really impressed with the amount that you get for free. And there are so many ways that we can use this technology, okay? And I'm going to kind of show you a couple of things that I do now. Okay, I'm going to kind of start linking this all together and threading it all together so you can start to see the power of this technology. You could use this technology in class very easily. You might have a piece of text you want the students to read. You might want them to be getting used to listen to an Austrian accent or an Indian English accent. This is one of the problems, for example, with my wife. She's an English speaker, but she struggles with accents from India. This technology would have been ideal, for example, if she'd have been exposed to English accents from India. So I think that this tool's got a lot of potential, but let's just start to expand a bit. And I'm going to just show you a couple of things, and I hope you find these really interesting. Now, most of us are probably familiar with ChatGPT. Actually, earlier today, I saw an amazing presentation with ChatGPT, which I'm going to kind of touch on a little bit later. I'm a big user. I use it all the time. I'll be talking about it a little bit. I'm going to just show you an example. Now, when I work with ChatGPT, I don't write to ChatGPT. I have a teeny little piece of software that allows me to talk to ChatGPT, and it just makes life a lot easier. And I will show you in a minute how I actually download this prompt. Okay, this little piece of software. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask ChatGPT, for example, to think of 10 words around the topic of football in Polish. Obviously, I could ask it to do this in English, but because I'm studying Polish and I want to show you a real example. So I just click on this button here. I'm just going to talk to ChatGPT. I'm studying Polish. Can you write 10 words in Polish connected with the topic of football that might be interesting for me to learn? Can you make the level about A2, B1? So I simply write that.
Certainly. Here are 10 Polish words related to football at AB1 level. Piłka nożna.
Okay, so it's written the words for me, right? And now I'm going to tell ChatGPT to use these words in a story, okay? So just turning back on, I'm just going to say, can you use those words in a story about football? Can we maybe write a story about a young boy who is learning to play football, and he decides that he wants to be a professional footballer, so he practices every day, and eventually he joins his favorite football club, Manchester United. Can you write the story in Polish for me? Then now it's going to write me that story, hopefully. So yeah, off it goes. Okay.
Exclamation mark.
Okay, now I won't leave the voice on because obviously I'm speaking to it in English, and it's now writing me a story in Polish. So it's not very useful in that way, but you could chatting to ChatGPT is absolutely brilliant. And ChatGPT does a great job of writing stories. Okay. I should have been a bit more specific with the level. What I would normally do now is tell ChatGPT to make that a little bit easier. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of this, okay? So I've kind of got it to write me a story based on some key vocabulary that I want to learn. Now, what I could do now is jump back to natural readers. And this is really what I'm doing nearly all the time, okay? I've got certain topics that I want to prepare for before my lesson, or I want to practice key vocabulary. And what I would do now is click over. Obviously, I'm going to use Polish, and as I said, thank God that Polish is available because it's just so useful. We'll choose Marek. So, and then I could paste this text in now, and I could have ChatGPT read this story out to me. Now, as I said, it's very easy if ChatGPT doesn't write the story at the level you want to ask ChatGPT to write the story at a slightly lower level. There are things that ChatGPT doesn't do well, and if I get a chance, I might explain a few of them to you, but writing stories isn't one of them. It does a fantastic job of writing stories, and you can be very specific about the vocabulary that you want. So let's just sort of, again, let's just listen to this. Okay, so I'm just going to click here, and it's going to read it out.
Oczywiście. Oto historia o młodym chłopcu, który uczy się grać w piłkę nożną.
Now, another thing that I can do, and this sometimes I do, you have to be very careful with this. You can slow it down. So if you want the delivery to be a little bit slower, yeah, if you think, oh, this is a bit fast, you could just touch it down. Now, my experience is you can't slow it down too much. It doesn't work that well, but it does work well. And obviously in Polish, for me, you know, sometimes that's a really good idea. So let me just carry on with that.
Oczywiście. Oto historia o młodym chłopcu, który uczy się grać w piłkę nożną i marzy o tym, by zostać zawodowym piłkarzem i dołączyć do swojego ulubionego klubu piłkarskiego, Manchester United.
Okay, absolutely fantastic. Okay, and I can understand more or less what it's saying. Okay, so you can see immediately me working on my own as a student. This doesn't negate the teacher. I still have 3 lessons online a week with my teacher, but what it does is allow me to do incredible things in my free time that I simply would never have been able to do before. Now, if I just quickly click on my account just to show you, and I click on my daily usage, it's going to tell me that I've only used 1,554 words. I've still got 3,500 words left. Okay, so I have 3,500 characters left. So, you know, I could be doing 2 or 3 pieces of written work a day, and it's not going to stop me using the tool. And another very cheeky thing that you can do if you want, because I do have an account, and as I said, you don't even need to log in, is I'm logged in on 2 different email accounts, and that means that actually I can be almost using this technology for free continually. I probably will upgrade to this technology finally, because I have to say it is so useful. Okay, now we'll come back to this technology because I'm going to show you a little bit later how I kind of link all of this together. I'm just going to stop sharing just for a very quick second, and let me just hopefully in the chat window, hopefully, can you turn video off? Now be allowed to turn video. No, if, as I say, the idea was to keep the video off if possible. Yeah, guys, is that useful to you? Is that a good start? If you could write something in the chat window. Yeah. So the focus is really what I'm trying to do today is to show you some technologies that can really kind of we can use as well, but that can really make a difference as well to your teachers. That's your students. Sorry, that's one of the things we're trying to help our students to become more and more independent, and these technologies are really powerful. That tool's free. I'm using it every day. I can totally recommend it. All right, now I'm going to come back a bit, get to ChatGPT. We will jump back into natural readers at the same time. Okay, don't forget there is a handout after this at the end, so you don't have to worry about Russell, how did you do that, what website is it? It's all in the handout that I've got for you. Okay, I've got videos that are going to show you to use all of these technologies, and if I get a couple of seconds at the end, I'll explain a little bit more about what I do. Let's just jump back. And obviously, I'm hoping that some of you might have been quite interested to see that ChatGPT tool. It's very easy. And I'm just going to show you the power of this tool. We've already looked at a super simple example. It totally changes the way that you can work with ChatGPT when you start talking to it. And the good news is that you can actually talk to it in many languages. Okay, now I have tried in fact I can speak to it in Spanish, and I get on pretty well if I speak in Spanish. Okay, so if I want to use this for speaking practice in Spanish, that's also another possibility. We're actually going to try something like that now. Okay, we're going to try and see if we can kind of going to show you a little bit what you can do with ChatGPT once you've got this little plugin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to instruct ChatGPT now to do something in English for me. So I'm going to click again and give ChatGPT some instructions. Can you act as Marilyn Monroe? And I'm going to interview you and ask you some questions about your life. Can you keep your answers fairly short and succinct? If you understand what I've just asked you, just say ready. Okay, lovely. Right, let me turn the actual audio on. Okay, so let's start with my first question. Marilyn, where were you born?
I was born in Los Angeles, California.
And when did you start working in acting? When did you decide, for example, that you wanted to be an actress?
I started pursuing acting in the early 1940s and decided to become an actress during my late teens.
Did you ever get married?
Yes, I was married 3 times during my life.
And what about children, Marilyn? Did you have any children?
No, I did not have any biological children of my own.
Out of all the films you made, what film do you think was your favorite? Which one did you enjoy making most?
I enjoyed making Some Like It Hot the most. It was a fun and challenging project.
And who were the stars in that film? I can't remember.
Some Like It Hot starred me, Marilyn Monroe, along with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon.
Okay, so you can see the power once you start talking to ChatGPT. You have to be really clear what you want ChatGPT to say. This is what we talk about when we say prompt writing. Some prompts are easier than others. This is not a lesson today in prompt writing or in prompt saying, because obviously I'm not writing anything, I'm just talking. But what I'm just trying to show you here is the potential for you or for your students to be able to use ChatGPT as a way of practicing their speaking. Okay, and this is, it's definitely got the potential to do this. As I said, you can actually do this in many other languages as well. My Polish isn't good enough. It just doesn't work. I can just about get by in Polish, but certainly in Spanish and French, I can make use of this if I want to, okay? But it's got real potential to be used as a way of actually practicing speaking. The key thing to understand is the prompts. Now, how does this work? Let me just really quickly explain, and we'll just kind of demonstrate a few more things. Literally, I click on this button here at the bottom and talk to ChatGPT, just say whatever I want. And when I want to send that message, I press on the space bar, and then immediately ChatGPT will respond to me. Okay, so I'm going to ask one final question just to show you. So I click on the button here. Did you get on well with Tony Curtis? Did he become one of your friends? And again, off it will go.
Tony Curtis. And I got along well during the filming of Some Like It Hot, but we were not close friends outside of work.
Now, we always have to be a little bit careful with ChatGPT. It doesn't always mean to say, by the way, that all the answers are necessarily perfect, particularly when you're doing something historical, but you can see the power of how you can use ChatGPT. And I know these sorts of things could really be very, very useful. We can go a lot further with the sorts of things that you can do with ChatGPT. We could, for example, switch this round, and I could tell ChatGPT that I wanted it to be a certain personality, and that I was going to interview it, and that I wanted, short, concise answers. And then we could switch roles. And then, for example, I could ask it to be, I don't know, President Biden or, whoever. And then we could do it that way around. So you can see the power of this tool. Now, how did I do this? This is this particular one is, and there are several of them, by the way, is a plugin for Chrome. It's super easy. It literally just takes one little click to actually access it. I'm going to just show you where it is. If I clicked here and I went to extensions and then manage my extensions, and if we come down here, let me just come a little bit closer on the screen so that you can see it. The one is called voice control for ChatGPT. Now, I'm not going to remove it, but I will just show you. So if you want to copy this, okay, if you want to, so voice control for ChatGPT, in the handout I'm going to give you, there's all the details, or there's a video that shows you how to do it. But just so you see, if I go to Chrome and I write, voice control for ChatGPT, for Google Chrome, then it will come up literally straight away. And it's going to, in my case, it's going to say remove, because it already knows I've got it. But you would just click on that button there. And from that moment onwards, you would be able to, ChatGPT would work in Google Chrome, and it would, it would just, as soon as you open up ChatGPT, then you would be able to use that. I'm just absolutely just to make things clear. How do you access ChatGPT? Well, you need to go to openai.com, okay? And then you need to log in an account and create an account. I've already got one, of course. I'm using this extensively. Click on ChatGPT and off you go. You'll see that the voice, there it is. It opens up automatically at the bottom of the screen, okay? So that is a really, really useful tool if you are looking, for example, to communicate with ChatGPT, or if you're looking to, obviously, to make materials for your classes. And also, though, something to recommend to your students. One of the things I have done with this, and I'll just mention this because it's been a real success in the classroom, this is that I often get ChatGPT to write two similar stories, an A story and a B story, but with maybe, say, 5 differences. So, for example, in an experiment lesson the other day, I asked ChatGPT to write a story and then write the same story, but with 5 differences. And then what I did was I put one group in as group A, one group as group B, and I got them to read their stories. I got them to practice in their groups telling their stories, so they felt confident telling their stories. And then I put the students from A and B together, and I got them to tell their 2 stories and try to find the 5 differences. Now, for me to prepare those materials would take me ages. For me to do that in ChatGPT and tell it, can you write for me 2 different stories? You need to explain what you want the story to be about, but you can, do that really, really easy. It will produce those 2 stories for you really quickly. This is a game changer when you're working in language teaching. Okay, so I'd really recommend, if you haven't taken the step to learn about ChatGPT, to learn about it, because this is one of many, many tools that are coming around. Now, some of you will know that there are actually 4 or 5 different tools emerging in terms of these kind of language generation tools, okay? And particularly when it comes to story writing, thinking of vocabulary, doing these little interviews like I showed you today, it's very useful. I'm continually using ChatGPT, and I might come back and show you some more things in a minute. Now, I want to show you a little bit more about the way that I work in language learning. I'm actually going to show you something now that's really nothing to do with AI, but very quickly you'll realize, aha, so yes. So let me just switch over to YouTube, and I'm just going to show you something. Now, I might have even touched on this last year, but it's going to be really relevant to what I want to show you today, because I want to show you a little bit more about how I'm working in language learning. So I'm going to do a search, and I always do the same one, but I'm going to just do shopping in English. Okay. And I'm just going to demonstrate. I think I did touch on this last year, but you'll see very quickly that I'm really demonstrating something very different today. So if I click on filters here, this is a really useful thing to know whenever you're searching for material on YouTube. If you click on here, and I can say, right, I want a video for, say, let's say under 4 minutes, and I'm going to click on the filter again because I only want things with subtitles. Okay. So now we're going to get a whole series of videos on the screen, and I can kind of see I've got shopping in English, and I can sort of look through and see. Let me just do another search there, just to make sure. Okay. And I'm just going to filter for 1 second, a minute. Yeah, just want to make sure I've got the ones with subtitles in it. Okay. And I'll just grab a video. So I'll take this one here. Okay. Now, a lot of the time when I'm doing this in Polish, obviously, but what I'm going to do is show you this in English, okay, how I work. And if I click here on the side and I click on show transcript, you can actually get the transcript of any. Let me just close this down, guys. Let me see if I can get rid of that. 1 second. Can I do that? Got to showing me the transcript. 1 sec. Sorry, I might have gone too quick. Let me just do that again. Apologies. I might have been trying to go too quickly. Let me just scroll down again. All right, it didn't open the way it should have done. So let me just make sure. Okay, let me just play it.
Hi, I'm Marie. Welcome to Oxford Online English. In this lesson, you can learn useful language for going shopping in English.
You'll see how to ask for things you want, how to talk about.
Okay, so let me just see if I can open this up. When you search for a video that's got the transcript in it, okay, you can kind of access the transcripts from here. If you click on show transcript, it should show you the transcript if the transcript is available. Obviously, sometimes the transcripts aren't available. It just depends on the video, okay? Let me just see view, or I'm just trying to look, seeing if this one 1 second, if I close there. I can't get the transcript on this one, so it doesn't seem like this one's actually got the transcript available. Okay, let me just take another one and see if I can find. And I'm a bit surprised that I can't find the transcript on that, because I think when I've used that one in the past, I could. I'll just try another one. Okay, let's just have a quick look.
Well, that's not very nice.
Right, let's just have a quick look here. Show transcript. Okay. Okay, guys, I've something gone slightly wrong with my video. Okay, right. Okay, I've got it down here. Right. For some reason, the transcript normally picks up on the right-hand side, but because I've got this analytics tool, it's kind of getting in the way. So what's happened is that the transcript is showing up underneath rather than. But what I want to do is just show you this. Watch this. So let's say as I'm working through the technology, there is a certain sentence, and obviously I'm doing this in Polish that I don't understand. Okay. What I can easily do is grab that sentence, whatever it is. So let's say, for example, that I've got. Let's just take a really simple example from here. Yeah. I'll just refer to the shopping mall as a mall. All right. So I copy that. Okay. Now, let's say I'm a Polish speaker and I'm learning English and I didn't understand what that was. What I can do really easy is I can go over to, for example, something like Google Translate, and I can paste that sentence in English, and I can get the Polish translation. Okay, so it's really useful for me if I'm working through a video and I want to grab the sentence. Now, the interesting thing is that if I find a sentence that I get the translation, like I said, I'm imagining that I'm a Polish speaker and I'm learning English. What I can do is I can save that sentence. So if I click here, I can save that sentence in my study list. Okay, now if I want to see my study list, and you're going to see it now, then I can just click here and I can see all of the words that I'm currently studying. Now you can see that I'm using this in Polish all the time. Okay, so this is my current study list of words, and often these words are coming from YouTube videos, but it might come from an article I've read or whatever. Now, one thing that you can do with these study lists in Google, yeah, so you're making literally a list of all the sentences that you're trying to learn in Polish. One thing that you can do with this list is I can click here and it will put that list into a Google Sheet. Okay, so I can be studying on YouTube, saving sentences, putting them into Google Translate, seeing the translation to help me, and then I save them. And slowly I build up a big collection of sentences like you can see here. Now what I can do, because I've brought them into Google Sheets, is I can copy these sentences. So like I might say, for example, just grab those sentences like that, press on copy. Okay, and now what I could do is go over to Natural Readers, the technology that I was showing you a bit earlier on, and simply, let me just jump over to it. Okay, again, just paste in the sentences that I want to learn. This is what I'm doing literally every day. I would obviously choose Polish, choose Agnieszka, for example, and get Agnieszka to read me out the sentences that I'm currently studying, that I've currently got listed in my Google Translate. Okay, so I can just click here and it's going to read out those sentences.
To nie skupiamy się na tym i nie wynosimy z tego wiele. Starajcie się przynajmniej. I dobre dla naszego mózgu.
Okay, so absolutely fantastic the way that I can be building up a list of vocabulary using Google Translate and then copy those words and pasting them in so that I can listen to them all being read out. Of course, I could also take these same words and paste them straight into, for example, ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to write some sentences based on these words here, or these phrases that I've got. Okay, so it's really, really easy. I just want to go back and make that clear because I did have a little bit of problem there, which is a bit strange. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, that's why I was a bit lost, because what's happened is that the transcript, instead of showing on the side here, because I've got this analytics tool open and I can't remember very quickly how to turn it off, what's happening is the actual transcript is underneath. Okay, but at any time, let's take just one more example. So a couple of different stores at the mall. Okay, I didn't quite understand what that meant. I could go over to Google, I can paste in the sentence. It's going to give me a translation into whatever language I happen to be speaking as my first language, whether it be Spanish or Polish. I'm not really interested in this translation as in perfect, exactly word for word, as long as it helps me to understand that sentence in context. But then if I want to save that sentence, I click here, and that adds that sentence into my list of saved sentences, which I can open and close at any time. And of course, now I can use these sentences to work with ChatGPT or to work with natural languages. And this is basically what I'm doing not every day, as I said. I probably study about 3 to 4 times a week. But you click on this button here, I call it the magic button, and it will export all your words, all your current sentences that you are learning, bring them in. You need to just open up the to make this a bit clearer, so you just pull them out, and then you can just copy the words and then paste them into Natural Readers, listen to them being pronounced. These are the sorts of things that I am teaching my students. Now, I'm lying a little bit when I say that. My teachers are teaching their students, because really I have a group of teachers that I work with and teacher training courses. I'm showing them these ideas, and then they're passing them on to students. Okay, so that's another kind of link between the way that I'm working with languages and trying to learn languages. Now, I'm going to show you something else that I was, there are a lot of these tools developing on the screen. As I said, everything that I'm going to show you today is, are things that I've tested, we've tested out with students, and In fact, literally everything I'm showing you today is also free, which is even better, isn't it? Now, I'm going to show you this tool. We're really impressed with this tool. And I'm going to just explain a little bit what I do. And then we're going to try and do an example. So this tool will produce for you a 3D image. And you can write up to about 380 words or characters describing what you want to see. And what we did with our students, and this worked really well, it was a lovely activity, the tool is free, is that we got our students to work in pairs, and some of them working in small groups, 2 or 3. We actually did this online rather than in class, but some of my teachers have gone on to try this in class as well. We got the students to think of a topic, to brainstorm the vocabulary, and then to plan their description. And then they come onto this tool and they write their description in here. So we're going to imagine that we've done that. We've been working together as a group of teachers or a group of students, and we have come onto this technology. We've got our description, and I'm just going to write a really simple description. So I'm going to say a village in the south of Spain. So I better get the spelling right. South of Spain, with lots, let's say with mountains in the background. The village is full of white buildings, and there are lots of flowers. There is a church in the center of the town and a castle on a hill. It is a lovely day, and there are some birds flying in the sky. There is no one in the village, but there are lots of flowers, and there is a cat walking along the path. Okay, let's leave it at that. Okay, so the idea here is that the students could generate a description. Okay, would work well with nice lower levels. You can't use this so much in higher level classes, but I do like this activity, and it worked really well. I'm going to click on generate, and let's just see what happens. And see, now it should just take a while to generate that picture. It is fairly quick, though obviously we're all screen sharing here at the moment, and it might just take a few seconds. Hopefully it's going to work. So this obviously is what it's going to do. Hopefully is it's going to generate a kind of 3D image based on the description that I wrote in. Okay, and we can now see that. So I've got the mountains. Very nice. Have we got the castle? Oh yeah, it looks like it. I'm not sure if that's that's the church. Okay, did I ask for a church? I thought I asked for a okay, but I've got a castle or in the background here. I've got white villages. Where's my cat? Can't see my cat. Doesn't look like it's, because sometimes it doesn't put in a couple of things that you asked for, and I guess that's these. It might be somewhere. You have to kind of look around. Okay, but really, really powerful. We did. Now, what did we do with this activity? Because actually, it was the part after that worked the best. We then put the students in pairs, and student A had to ask student B, or had to ask student B questions to file, or they were working in groups. Yeah, so group A was asking group B, well, did you ask for a village? Did you ask for white houses? Did you ask for mountains? Did you ask for a pathway? Did you ask for clouds? Yeah, so ask them questions, and then the other students had to say yes they did, no they didn't. So it was a great way of kind of working through the vocabulary. Okay, and it just worked really well as a nice activity because it kind of had these stages, and of course it had a bit of a wow factor. And one way that you could introduce this is you could write a description and show it to the whole class. If you're teaching online, you can do it, or if you're teaching in class, probably even easier, and say to them, right, what do you think I asked for? So we had a couple of students. One group did a description of a mountain scene in Switzerland, and the other group did a beach scene in Thailand, and both worked really, really well. And it was a nice lesson. It took actually longer than we thought. there was the vocabulary generation, choosing the topic, thinking of the vocabulary. There was writing the description, pasting it in. As you can see, it does work fairly quickly. And then putting the students together. One student shows their picture to the other, and the other has to guess exactly what was asked for. So lots of language generation going on. And of course, there are some nice words here. Castle, we got church, we got village, we got birds flying, we've got pathway. So, you know, there is nice language being generated here. This probably wouldn't work for higher levels, but you could certainly try it. All I'm saying is that this was a technology that we really had a little bit of fun making use of. And I've been really impressed with the results. The other thing about this technology, again, is it's completely free. So that is something to think about. Yeah, the fact that you can just come onto this website. I haven't even created an account here. I probably will get round to doing it. As I said, I don't actually teach students. These days I'm doing teacher training, but what I do sometimes do is just get a group of students together and test out a couple of ideas. Okay, there's a couple of other things that you can do on this particular tool as well. Notice that you can share the image, you can download it. You've got digital painting, and you've got some other ones as well. I always use digital painting. I've never tried anything else. And you can even remix. Okay, so you can actually remix the technology as well. And I think you can view it without the URL. So if you click like that, you get a lovely example of exactly what it looks like, the image. Okay, and you can kind of move around the image and up, etc. A lot of fun. Obviously, I'm wondering in the long time, of course, these tools may end up, you might have to pay for them. But at the moment, these type tools are a lot of fun. And there's a bit of a wow factor in doing this. The interesting thing is that there's similar technologies coming out now for video that kind of do very similar things as well. And I've included that in the handout for you today. I decided to keep away from the video generating one simply because it does take a little bit more time to demonstrate and to produce the video. It can even take up to 4 or 5 minutes, but you can do a very similar thing with video generation, which is really quite interesting. Okay, I'm just going to jump out for a sec and just see again, am I on the right lines? Hopefully, yeah. Okay, I mean, hopefully, sorry about the thing that went slightly wrong there with YouTube. That's because I've got that video analytics thing on the right hand side, because normally the transcript, when you click on it, would come out on the right hand side. So as I'm watching a video in Polish, I just copy in the text, pasting it into Google Translate, checking what it means so I can follow the video, saving it. And then every so often, I will grab a collection of words as I showed you and then paste them into Natural Reader so I can practice the pronunciation. I have to say, particularly in the area of pronunciation, it's been an absolute game changer using naturalreaders.com. It's so helpful. I use it for sentences. Sometimes I even just use it for a list of words. If I've got certain keywords that I really want to practice and I want to get right, then I can literally just paste them in and hear them being read out. Okay. And obviously ChatGPT, if you get that little plugin, is really useful as well. Now I'm going to show you one more tool. And looks like I'm on the right lines, guys, because I'm getting some nice comments there in the background. I don't want to baffle you like with anything. I think technology's got to be really simple. That's what it's got to be. I tend to look for tools that I think, right, yeah, that's going to work. It's simple and it does what it says on the packet. Okay, so none of these tools are particularly elaborated in terms of their use. That they really can be used very quickly. Can be used both by teachers and by students. Okay, I'm going to jump back. So that's a lovely tool, that one there. It's called Blockade Labs. It's all the details are in the handout that I'm going to give you. What the handout is access to videos about all these different technologies. Now what I'm going to do, guys, just because it's getting a little bit crazy with the number of links that I've got on the screen, I'm just going to close down couple of links. I've got so many links open on the screen, including all these ones just after that discussion with Marilyn Monroe. We won't be looking at natural readers anymore. We won't be looking at my website. We won't be looking at the prompts. We've got all that. So I think we just tidy all this up a little bit. Otherwise, I won't know where the hell I am. So just get rid of all that. Right, lovely. Right, I just want to show you another technology. And this one is very much, okay, you're going to be impressed by this, but this is very much at the starting stages. Okay, it's called twee.com, and it's a beta. That means it's kind of being tested out. Okay, but let me try to explain just a little bit about what this tool does. The idea of this technology is that it will produce all sorts of exercises for you using AI. So what it really does is it probably connects to ChatGPT, but it knows exactly the right question to ask ChatGPT, hence the reason it will generate really interesting kind of activities for you, okay? So this is very much a tool in the testing stage. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good, and it does offer an absolute mass of tools that you can make content on, okay? All sorts of things like read and understand, etc. Create a text on certain topics. You could create open questions to the text. You can do ABC questions for a text with only one correct answer. In fact, let's try one of those. Let's try that one out. So it looks a fairly easy one, and we'll see. Okay, just so I'm going to click here, and off we go. And if I just move this at the bottom, so what we're going to do in this one here is that we literally paste in the text, and then hopefully it's going to generate A, B, C, D, multiple choice questions for me. So just to save on time, okay? And again, I've made a whole video about this technology, all right? Because I'm aware of time, and I'm aware that we might want a few minutes to ask questions. So I just want to show you the potential of this tool. So let's go back to my boring old website with my text about me. Okay, I'm just going to let me grab a bit more. I probably need a bit more for this. Okay, so in fact, let's just grab that first bit and see how it gets on. Okay, I'm guessing it's going to be all right. So I'm just going to press on code. I'm going to come back to here. So what this tool is, it's sort of meant to be, I guess, ChatGPT on steroids. It's really specifically for language learners. Okay, so I'm just going to paste in some text here, and then it's hopefully going to read that text and generate questions for me. Okay, now off it goes. It produces the questions, as you can see, really, really quickly. Now, you're going to say to me, Russell, ChatGPT can do that. And I'm telling you, this is already using ChatGPT. What this is doing, though, is that it is actually knows the prompt to send the correct request to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is actually what we call, oh God, I forgot the word now, an API. In other words, you can connect to ChatGPT and use the power of it. So what this app does is it simply sends the correct request. And notice here, straight away, look, it's just produced the questions for me, okay? And I'm presuming and I'm hoping that it's also going to give me the correct answers at the bottom. Okay, I can copy that, I can edit that, but I could now do something else with that. So let's do a fill in the gap activity. All right, so we're going to add to that now. And this is interesting because I think all I need to do is just click on the words that I want the gap to be. Okay, I think it's not automatic. I need to actually click on. So let's just quickly try this. So we've already got that true or false activity, but now I could sort of just click on words that I want to create into a gap fill activity, and then it will create a gap fill activity based on those words. Okay, so you can build up a whole lesson. And if I click on, I've only clicked on a few, let's just click on a few more. Okay, if I click on do the magic, it will now regenerate the text, okay, with those missing words, and it provides them at the top. I can set it that it doesn't provide those words. So now we've got 2 exercises, okay, not just one. So we can build up a whole lesson using twee.com, and it does some really clever things with YouTube videos. So it's great for YouTube videos because it can grab the transcript from a YouTube video, make true or false questions or multiple choice questions. You'll see that there's absolutely loads and loads of options here. Okay, this tool is free. Now I am logged in. I have been playing around with it. I have to say, you have to watch it a little bit, guys, because this is quite new, but I am very impressed with some of the things it can do. And the interesting thing is just look how many tools there are. Remember, when you make an activity, you can build it up into several stages, okay? So you can build the activities up, but you've got stuff around video, use it, paste in a text, get it to create questions, create gap fills, create multiple choice questions for you. You can get it to do brainstorming, okay? It does leading questions for different topics. It's quite good for brainstorming, for sort of generating vocabulary, generating sentences around key vocabulary that you provide it with on a particular topic, creating sort of exercises around translation, collocations, all sorts of things, okay? well worth looking into, because the tool is free. This is a beta. That means it's at test stage, but this tool really does have a lot of potential. Okay, so as usual, I always do this. I've got a PowerPoint slide, and of course, in the end, I never use it because I just dive straight in. Okay, so we looked at kind of Natural Reader, which I believe is a game changer. We looked at ChatGPT and talking to ChatGPT. We looked at YouTube and how I connect it to things like Natural Readers and ChatGPT. And we then looked at a couple of other interesting tools. This one, Skybox, okay, Skybox at blockadelabs.com, but don't worry, it's in the handout. And then I also showed you there right at the end, twee.com, which is still in beta, but I think it's very interesting. It could be a real time saver, and it can generate content for you really, really quickly. When you're using twee.com at the moment, it doesn't provide the links to do the activities online. It's specifically for making content that you're going to print out and use with your students in class, or get students, again, that could make the content on their own. I've got a handout, guys. And in the handout, there's also one bonus video about an amazing video tool that's come out, okay? So if you go email russellhandout@gmail.com, subject, just put Teaching House, and then just say hello to me. Hello, I am blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah. Automatically, the handout will be sent to you. There are no tricks. I'm not stealing your data. I have 77,000 followers on my YouTube channel. I don't need to steal everyone's email addresses and force you to be part of my newsletter. I do say to you, if you want to sign up to newsletter here, you can sign up, but you know, that's entirely up to you. All you're going to get is the handout, and that handout provides videos for all the key technologies that I've been talking about today, plus this bonus one, this fabulous video tool, which literally, just like you saw today with Skybox, you write in a description of the video you want and it produces it, along with audio and commentary. I am very impressed, but I'm leaving that one for you to take a look at on your own. Now, we wanted to save time for questions, and I think I've saved about 8 minutes. I don't think that's too bad. I'm going to stop sharing, come back. I better put my and just see. I don't know if Liz, if you've been following the questions that have been coming up on the screen, or if there's anyone just wants to write a question and I'll try and pick up on it. There might have been some questions that I've missed because I've obviously been ignoring the chat while I've been doing the presentation. Okay, I don't have an Instagram, guys. I don't. All I do is have this YouTube channel, and I have a very popular website with all my videos on it. I make videos to help teachers to use technology, and if you really, really quickly just show it to you, if you do kind of want to, you know, follow any of my work, as I said, I'm not kind of, but if I just quickly jump out and just let me just escape from that, and I'll just show you. Hang on a minute. So my website is called teachertrainingvideos.com. And basically what I do is I make videos that show teachers how to use different technologies. Okay, and it's quite popular. The website gets about 1,000 views a day, maybe a bit less these days, but the YouTube channel is very popular, and I make videos. Particularly I'm focused on teachers that are a little bit technophobic. I never was that good at technology, and so I decided, right, I was going to try to make a set of videos or a website that would help teachers if they want to introduce technology into language teaching. It's always specifically about language teaching, and you'll see like my latest videos released here, you'll see them, etc. And there's some recommendations, and you can also go to the special section of AI and ChatGPT if that's what you're particularly interested in. And I've actually got a new video that I'll be added into that collection as well. Okay, you know, and as I said, the YouTube channel is really, really popular. So that's that, in case you want to kind of make use of it. Yeah.